I stopped judging myself for 7 days to see what happens, and after this video you will stop judging yourself too, I suppose. The plan is to focus on documenting my progress over the next week, where I will work extensively on decreasing my self-judgment, because it's kind of getting to me. Before we start, I'm not a psychologist, I don't have a degree, and this is not professional advice. This is just me exploring myself. Now that we have this out of the way, my name is Alex and I'm a content creator talking about philosophy, self-development, and content creation. And like many other entrepreneurs, I'm kind of a productivity nerd. And if you ever come across these types of people, you know how obsessive we are about our time. Everything is planned out and our time is allocated almost perfectly, but we're still human. So what happens when we mess up? Judgment. We judge ourselves for not being disciplined enough, we judge ourselves for not allocating our time correctly, and we judge ourselves for not being good enough. Even though those 15 minutes of scrolling on the phone won't make any real difference because you still clock in like 10 to 12 hours of solid work every day, you still judge yourself into oblivion. You strive to be perfect, and now you're thinking, gotcha, you're a perfectionist, Alex. You have a perfectionism problem. But I don't. I got rid of perfectionism like months ago, and I no longer ponder things, tweak stuff every 5 minutes, or redo projects that were basically done days ago. But the judgment is still here, and it projects in form of overthinking, unease, worry, stuff like that. There's this guy called Mike Israel that I usually go to for sex, trading, and life advice. And in one of his videos, he casually drops a bomb. He says, worry is the worst fucking possible expression of care. And I'll repeat that. Worry is the worst possible fucking expression of care. Also, this guy named Scott Galloway that's pretty damn successful. He went on a podcast and they asked him, what would you change if you could go back in time? And he said, I would judge myself less and I would be less hard on myself. And that's when it hit me. Worry won't do anything for you. It's basically you destroying yourself from the inside. It's self-sabotage. Only action in that moment is the only thing that can make a difference. And it aligns with a quote I heard years ago. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is now. So action in the now is the only thing that matters. So I got to it. I killed the perfectionism beast. I beat perfectionism. But how? If you scroll a bit back on my channel, you can see that I have a video about perfectionism. I researched, I worked on myself for some period of time, and I made a video about it. And that's how I beat perfectionism, while documenting the whole process and making a video. And it worked really, really well. So here we are now again. I made a plan. For 7 days, I will extensively work on myself to eliminate judgment from my life. And at the end of this week-long journey, I will share my knowledge and what I learned. The whole shtick, the main thing I'm going to be doing in this journey is this 3-step exercise. And the first step is to write down all the judgments you make about other people and yourself. Then you pick the ones that you think will hurt you the most and hurt others the most, and then you work on them. But enough talking, let me tell you my experience. Okay, it's day 2 of not judging myself, and today is Tuesday, 11th June, and I will be saying 2 things. What I plan on doing today and reflecting on yesterday, and yesterday was day 1. Today, I'm going to stay aware of my subtle judgments. So during interactions, during me walking on the streets, I'm not going to be judging people, or I may judge people, but I'm going to stay aware and stop mid-judgment. I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to judge these people. So yesterday I did this also, but I think it's important I do it throughout the whole journey to like stay aware of these non-conscious judgments. The second thing is I'm going to be doing the exercise because I didn't do it yesterday, didn't have the time, or it was not my priority. I had a lot of work, so I blocked out my time on the calendar today. And the second thing is reflecting on yesterday. Yesterday I stopped myself midway of judging other people. So when I had interactions, as I said, I stopped myself from judging them non-consciously, and I didn't judge myself for missing a deadline. I had to like work, deep focus stuff, and I was editing and my brain kind of just melted. So I just kind of added like, I don't know, half an hour to my break because my brain was just melting from this editing work. And yeah, I didn't judge myself for that. So that's cool. And I also changed my haircut to exactly the one I judge the most, and that is the mullet. I don't know if you guys see the mullet haircut because it's an improvised version. I don't have a lot of stash of my hair up here. So yeah, that's about it for day 2. I'll let you guys know what happened tomorrow, and you'll see me do this exercise, and yeah, see you tomorrow. Okay, so it's day 2 of the not judging myself experiment. and I took you guys outside. It was kind of raining and it was kind of too bright, and I don't have an ND filter to like lower the exposure. But about today, remember the exercise I told you I was going to do yesterday? Well, I didn't do it. It was just not my priority at the time. A lot of times people say, oh, I didn't have time. No, it was not your priority, so it wasn't mine. I had a lot of work. I got tangled up in some stuff. So today we're going to be doing, and I'm going to be showing you how I do it throughout this video. Today we're also staying aware of not being judgmental to myself, because I just took a 2-hour break from work and I had a hard urge to judge myself. Believe me, it was hard, but I was like kind of just, worry is the wrongest fucking possible impression of care. So get outside, get action, get filming, and go work more. And that's it. That's going to matter. Action matters. Worrying doesn't. So that's what I've been battling with today, and I've been winning. And about yesterday is 2 things. I was staying aware not to judge other people based on how they look, based on how they talk, based on how they behave in a coffee shop or whatever. And the second thing, I was not judgmental of a guy that cheated on my jiu-jitsu class. I was not judgmental of him. He kind of got into a position that we weren't in before to try and leg lock me, and he succeeded. I just stabbed. I didn't want to mess with stuff like that because your bone can break like this. Also, it was his first or second BJJ class, and we did sparring only this session. So I guess he kind of wanted to prove himself, and he doesn't speak our language. So I don't hold anything against him. I don't want to judge him. I would want to win also. So my experience so far is that not judging myself is really a healthy experience, because I don't focus on stuff that I don't need to focus. I just focus on action and working. And if I don't judge myself, I'm able to focus more in this certain moment, like right now, because now is the only time I have. I don't have the past or the future. I don't control these times, and I only control now and the action I take now. So it's been really, really healthy to my brain, and it's been a battle, but we're gonna keep going. And I see this as a standard thing in my life now. I don't see a way of coming back. As I said, awareness is self-corrective, and when you realize something for the first time, some things you can't just unrealize them. You can't just go back. You know that there is a better way, and you don't want to come back, and you're going to fight to stay on the good side. That's about it. See you in the 4th day. Days 1 to 3 were just me becoming aware of these judgments that we place. So like catching judgments in real time. And I often found myself just casually placing these judgments on other people, like while walking on the street or while working at a coffee shop. So every time I placed a judgment on somebody, I said in my mind, don't judge. So on the 4th day, I finally got the balls to do this exercise, because it takes a lot of time and a lot of mental effort. But what I recommend you do is just pick up a physical pen and paper and do a brain dump. Take a block of 30 minutes. Set up a timer. The first 30 minutes, you write down all the judgments you make about other people. The second 30 minutes, you write down all the judgments you make about yourself. And the third block of these 30 minutes, you pick the judgments that you think will hurt you the most in the future, that have the most potential to hurt you in the future. For me, the judgments I make about other people go like this: fat, arrogant, money hungry, whore, punchable. For myself, the judgments I place on myself: never gonna make it, weak, coward, not enough, bad boyfriend, rich, low IQ, not able to provide, the odd one, not too tech savvy, party breaker, not unique. And these judgments might be totally different for you. But the point of this is to go from not aware of your judgments to becoming focused on these judgments that you write down. But now your question is, why should I even pick these judgments? Because judgments work backwards. And Naval said, judging other people is good for a quick dopamine hit. But how long until you're addicted? And then they asked him in the comments, how long until you feel the negative consequences of judging other people? And he said, almost immediately. But it's pretty subtle. So every time you judge somebody else, there is a possibility that you will judge yourself for the same thing if the same thing happens to you later in life. So for example, if you judge fat people, whenever you gain a little bit of weight, you can become paranoid, and then you can maybe go and emotionally overeat, and then gain even more weight, and then enter this vicious cycle that feeds itself because you judged somebody, I don't know, 5 years ago. Days 5 to 7 were really a challenge because I went to Mount Athos in Greece. I traveled there. Go research it if you want to know what it is. But long story short, there is no signal, no women allowed, monks praying all day, strict military-like rules, and it's really hard to get to because you need to obtain a certain visa for it. This mountain is basically the most religious place on earth, and I judge religion really fucking hard. So to work on not judging while being at this place was really tough for me. And I'm not going to tell you that I managed to be 100% successful at everything, but I fucking tried. Okay, so final thoughts, what I learned, and the 3-step process you can implement if you plan to work on yourself like this too. The first thing is judgments. And these judgments of mine are the characters that I was the most afraid of becoming. So for me, they are never gonna make it. Weak, coward, not enough, bad boyfriend, rich, low IQ, not able to provide, the odd one, not too tech savvy, party breaker, not unique. But when you do the exercise, now you know what they are, and you can do each and every single one of these and untangle them in your brain and fix them and not judge yourself on them. The second thing are labels, and all these judgments have one big thing in common. It's that they're labels you slap onto other people. So like sweaty, not working hard enough, sweet, charismatic, fucking retarded. It's all these labels that we slap onto other people without ever taking into account their circumstances. And the same goes for you and the labels you slap on yourself. And the final thing is that awareness is self-corrective. And this is why I tell you to think, because by thinking and doing, you unravel things in your mind and you become aware of them. And once you're aware that you're hurting yourself, you can never unlearn that fact. It's called the Baden-Meinhof effect, and it's applied in all areas of life. And sometimes it feels like this awakening, like this breakthrough that's happening. For example, the first time you make money online, there is no stopping you after that. It doesn't matter if it's $20 or $2,000, you cracked the code. It's no longer seeing other people make it. You've done it. Now you have to just expand on that. So after all this info, here is a 3-step plan that you should follow if you want to stop judging yourself. The first step is awareness. Are you judging other people unconsciously? Do you put labels on other people and yourself? And are your judgments justified? The second step is the exercise. And you can't like totally stop judging yourself. I mean, that's not possible. You can only pick these judgments that hurt you the most and work on them and solve them in like 80 or 90% of cases. And that's still, believe me, very good. So like this exercise works more in a prevention way rather than immediate help. And it also works as an extensive mental exercise. Tell me the last time you sat down to do a mental exercise. Dude, like almost never, myself included. So this was a liberating experience, finally letting these judgments go instead of holding them inside me. Do it. It's really good. And the final step is to try and avoid labels actively. Now that you know what hurts you the most, what judgments and labels hurt you the most, you don't want to place those labels onto other people or yourself. And most importantly, you don't want to let other people place these labels onto you. And this literally transformed the way my relationships work. So as soon as someone tries to put a label on me that I'm fighting against, I deadass turn and tell them, don't place these fucking labels on me. I'm serious. And of course, it depends on who you're talking to. I don't phrase it that way every time. So if you're talking to your boy, you can tell him straight. But if you're talking to a girl, you know, package it a bit differently, tell it in a different tone, you know, the stuff. That's it. We're finished. I need to take some rest finally. So just make sure you subscribe if you like this type of content that I'm making, because I'm testing out 2 types of content. The first one is for my soul. That's this philosophy, self-development stuff. And the second one is my actual work, which is consulting for entrepreneurs who want to scale their brand and scale their content. They are totally different styles. You can see the different styles in some of my previous videos. So please let me know in the comments, because that's the content that you'll be watching in the future. And it kind of also matters to me a lot. And remember, treat other people the way you want to be treated, because it directly reflects on how you treat yourself. Do you want to be judged? No. You can say that you don't care, but you do. Love you. Bye.